Here I am, Wheezy. Hey, you're gonna like it down here.
Saw something. There was this.
My grandfather thinks this town is cursed. He says that all the bad things that happen in this town are because of one thing. An evil thing that feeds off the people of Derry.
People die or disappear 6 times the national average. This stuff seems to happen every
27 years. It's all connected by the sewers.
Especially the clown.
That's where it lives.
We're all afraid of something.
Hi, Rich. What are you afraid of? Clowns.
You'll float down here. We'll float down here.
But Bill, if you come with me, we'll float too. "91 people signed the charter that made Derry, but later that winter, they all disappeared without a trace. The entire camp? There were rumors of Indians, but no sign of an attack. Everybody just thought it was a plague or something. But it's like one day everybody just woke up and left."
You know what time it is. Time to float. Welcome back to Tie Town Reviews and our ongoing horror-themed Remake Rumble for Halloween this year. Now, this week is so interesting because it's not purely a movie versus that movie's remake like the rest have been. This week, it's really 2 movies versus 2 movies. So, with that being said, I'll be doing things a little bit different this week. With cast versus cast, I will do each iteration's losers and adult losers and the bullies from each version. The video will be long enough without me getting into spouses and side characters and all this different stuff. It'll be too much. The video is going to be long enough as is because it's a lot to go through. So I've decided to stick to just the losers and just the Pennywises. Pennywise? Pennywoes? The evil clowns. Each version can get 1 point for the kids or 1 point for the adults, or they can get points for both. Just seemed the easiest way to do it since it's split up the way it's split up. It's the way I decided to do it. Until I have more people working with me on an official capacity, I get to make all those decisions. And that's what I decided to do for this. It might be a little complicated or sound a little complicated. I apologize. Also, there will be no final girl. There will also be no final couple. For that, it would just be loser club versus loser club. And that kind of falls under cast versus cast. So I've just decided to leave that out altogether. So that at least helps me shorten things just a little bit. So let's get through the overview, shall we? It 1990. In Derry, Maine, 7 outcast kids, or the Losers Club, battle Pennywise the Dancing Clown, a shape-shifting entity that feeds on children's fear every 27 years. As kids in 1960, they seemingly defeat it. And in 1990, the now adult losers reunite as murders resume, confronting their past and end it forever. The themes of the film are childhood trauma, friendship, and the never-ending cycle evil tends to have. Now the remake from 2017 and 2019. The same story setup overall, but the only real difference is the eras in which they were kids versus when they were adults. Instead of the 60s, it's in the 80s. And the adult timeline, instead of the 90s, it's 2017. So I'll get into it for story versus story. Measurables. We're going to start with cast versus cast. From the 1990 miniseries, Bill Denbrough, played by Jonathan Brandis, known for his soap opera role in One Life to Live, Never-Ending Story 2, and he unfortunately passed away in 2003, so his career was cut very short. Georgie Denbrough, played by Tony Dakota, he's best known for being Georgie and playing a character called Clavo on 21 Jump Street's TV series in the 80s. Richie Tozier, played by Seth Green, best known for his roles in the Austin Powers trilogy, Italian Job, and on Family Guy. I know him best from the Austin Powers trilogy and a horror comedy that I'm not going to get to this October, but I will be getting to it next October. It's called Idle Hands. Ben Hanscom, played by Brandon Crane, best known as Doug in the Wonder Years. He's been recently pursuing a career in musical theater, and he did make a cameo in It Chapter 2 back in 2019, which I'll go over later. Plays a character who's kind of a fake out for who Grown Up Ben is. He's actually just a guy that works for Ben. Anyways, Eddie Kasprak, played by Adam Frail, known for the It 1990 miniseries, RoboCop, and Lonesome Dove. Stanley Uris, played by Ben Heller, known for his role as Stanley. He only has the Dark Riders and the 2 It documentaries that are on his ledger, so I guess he didn't stick to acting for very long. Mike Hanlon, played by Marlon Taylor, who's best known as young Mike in the It miniseries. And Beverly Marsh, played by Emily Perkins, most wide-range success of the Young Losers outside of Seth Green. And yes, of course, Brandis had his career not got cut short by his passing in 2003. But she has several projects that she's been a part of, mostly known for It, something called Hiccups. I've never heard of that. And then Ginger Snaps, a werewolf film series that I have seen once. I've seen the first Ginger Snaps several times, but the other 2 I think I've seen once each. The Bullies in the miniseries, Belch, Vic, and Henry Bowers. Belch, played by Chris Eastman, known for It, Never Ending Story, and Hot Rod. Vic, played by Gabe Kuth, known for several projects from the 90s to 2000s. He unfortunately did pass away in 2019. Henry Bowers, played by Jared Blanchard, best known for Disturbing Behavior, The Boys Club, and It. Let's get to the adult versions of these characters. Bill Denbrough, played by Richard Thomas. He won an Emmy for Best Actor as John Boy in The Waltons. He has other numerous films and TV shows other than It and The Waltons on his ledger. Very easily recognizable. Anything else I've ever seen him in, I've always instantly recognized him. Richie Tozier, played by Harry Anderson. He's a comedian and magician, best known as Judge Harry on Night Court. Ben Hanscom, played by John Ritter, best known for Jack Tripper on Three's Company. He's the dad on Problem Child. He has so many things on his ledger, and he's so good in pretty much everything he's ever been in. His final role being 8 Simple Rules, unfortunately, because he was misdiagnosed with a thoracic aortic dissection, and then he passed away from that in 2003. It's so unfortunate because he died so young, and he still had quite a career ahead of him, I believe. Eddie Kasprak, played by Dennis Christopher, now retired but best known for Breaking Away and Fade to Black. Stanley Uris, played by Richard Masur, an actor who's appeared in more than 40 different films. You got both My Girl films that he's in, Disney's Mr. Boogedy and The Bride of Boogedy, as well as something called License to Drive. Mike Hanlon, played by Tim Reed, best known for his roles in primetime television shows such as WKRP, Downtown Brown, That 70s Show, and of course, the dad on Sister Sister. Beverly Marsh, played by the Annette O'Toole, best known for Nash Bridges, Smallville, and Superman. I know her best from Smallville and from this, but I do understand she's quite the force in the acting world. The Bullies, of course, there's only one bully in both versions for the adults, played by Henry Bowers, played by Michael Cole, known for the Mod Squad and the It 1990 miniseries. The remakes had the kids. Bill Denbrough, played by Jaden Martell, known for things like It, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, Y2K, and St. Vincent. Georgie Denbrough, played by Jackson Robert Scott, known for The Prodigy, Lock and Key, and It. Richie Tozer, played by Finn Wolfhard, known for Stranger Things, The Turning, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Frozen Empire. And he just released his first directing effort called Hell of a Summer. You should go check it out. I believe it's on Hulu. Ben Hanscom, played by Jeremy Ray Taylor, known for It and It Part 2, as well as Goosebumps 2. Eddie Kasparak, played by Jack Dylan Grazer, known for It Part 2, Loca, and Shazam. Stanley Uris, played by Wyatt Oleff? I'm so sorry. Oleff. I'm sure I butchered that. Please let me know. He is known best for It, I'm Not Okay with This, and playing young Peter Quill in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mike Hanlon, played by Chosen Jacobs, best known for Hawaii Five-0 and It. He's also a songwriter and rapper. Beverly Marsh, played by Sophia Lillis, known for It, I'm Not Okay with This, Dungeons and Dragons, and also Gretel and Hansel, a horror version of that story from 2020. But every version of that's horror. It's a witch trying to eat them. Anyways, The Bullies. Victor Chris, played by Logan Thompson, known for It and Titans. Belch Huggins, played by Jake Sim, known for It and Every Day. Patrick Hochstetter, played by Owen Teague. He is known for Netflix's Bloodline, Mrs. Fletcher, The Stand, and Leslie Gone in the Night. Henry Bowers, played expertly by Nicholas Hamilton, known for Captain Fantastic, It, and Gen V or Gen 5. I'm not 100% certain which it is. Okay, the adults. This is where it gets interesting. Bill Denbrough, played by James McAvoy. He is known best for Wanted, X-Men First Class, and the other younger versions of those characters, those films. Split, Speak No Evil, and Chronicles of Narnia, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Richie Tozer, played by Bill Hader, best known for his time on SNL, as well as being a prolific comedic actor in things like Superbad, It 2, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and Inside Out. Ben Hanscom, played by Jay Ryan, known for Neighbors, Sea Patrol, and Mary Kills. Eddie Kasprak, played by James Ransone. He is known for The Wire, Sinister, Generation Kill, and The Black Phone. Stanley Uris, played by Andy Bean, known for Swamp Thing, Here and Now, and It Chapter 2. Mike Hanlon, this one's the most interesting to me because of what I'm about to tell you. Played by Isaiah Mustafa, a former NFL wide receiver. I didn't know that. And he's also known for being the Old Spice guy from the Old Spice commercials. He's won an Emmy for that. I did not know you can win an Emmy for commercials. Had no idea. I know it's TV, so it makes sense, but I didn't know you could win an Emmy for being in a TV commercial. Beverly Marsh, played by Jessica Chastain. She's a Best Actress Oscar winner for her role in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. She's also known for things like The Help, Interstellar, and Zero Dark 30. I'm growing on Jessica Chastain in this movie. Before they released the cast of this movie, I made a prediction. I had several correct on who would play the older versions of some of these characters. I really wanted Amy Adams to play adult Beverly, but as time goes on, this is growing on me. Jessica Chastain is very good in this movie. It's always bugged me that they didn't cast Amy Adams because that was my prediction and I wanted to be right. But such a good group of adult losers. I'll get into it. Bully. Obviously, only Henry Bowers is the only one that comes back. He is played by Teach Grant. He is best known for this, Leprechaun Origins, The Tall Man, and a movie that most people may not know about starring Jensen Ackles called Devour. It is a movie that it took me 2 watches to realize I truly liked it, but I did end up really liking it. You should check that out too. All right, so I know that was long. I apologize. Let's dig into it. I like both versions of the story. Both versions that they put out, the original, the remake, I like both. And I like the actors who play the kids in both. I like the actors, for the most part, who play the adults in both. And no, I'm not talking about what I just said about Jessica Chastain. I've always liked her in the role. I just wish my prediction had been correct before. Let's get past that. When it comes to cast, it is unfortunately no contest that the remake did a better job. The characters are portrayed better. They're more believable as friends in both the kid and adult timelines. The love between Bev and Ben at the end is more believable because in the remake, there's a poignant scene though, even though she just kissed Bill and she mentions that she's always thought it was him who wrote the poem, she still says there's still a line in there where she's like, I think, meaning she still doesn't know because she doesn't remember that she did find out when they were kids that it was Ben. So it's that little bit right there makes their story more believable and them ending up together more believable. All right. There's more entertainment found with the newer cast. Again, some of the adult actors, I don't know if there was two or three of them. I don't know if they were huge at the time or what, especially the guy who plays Richie. Does he grade on you? He is grading on you. And whereas you have Bill Hader, I mean, knocked it out the park. They're more fun. Again, like I just said, they're more believable as friends. They're more believable as the love that's supposed to be between two of the characters, or supposedly between two of the characters, that I'm not going to dig deep into. I don't have the time. And then also, Ben and Beverly are more believable in the end of the adult timeline. While I do believe it's almost unfair when you pit the cast from the 90s to the cast from the remake, whether it's kids or adults, I mean, 100% they hit it out of the park. I read the book before the 2017 remake came out, and I find they are best portrayed, kids and adults, by the remake cast. So, with that being said, I give 1 point to the original and then 2 points for me loving both casts in the remake. So one for the original, two for the remake. The story, the miniseries, faithful to the book to a point, leaves out a lot of fun scares from the book and fun elements from the book. Not that scene. If you've read it, you know. But of the scenes that could be put into the movie, there are a few things that the 90 version left out because of limitations of technology, budget for sure. I mean, this was a two-part miniseries for TV, not a full-fledged big budget movie. The adult storyline is heavily criticized for how they displayed certain scares, elements of the story, and then of course how they changed the ending after they beat it. I think that was more for, again, budgetary reasons. But you have the spider. Again, I'm going to get into the spider in a minute, but it's not that bad. Outside of that, I know the adult timeline in the original is heavily criticized, and I see every single reason for it. And it is understood, and I do agree with most. The remake, just like the miniseries, it's very faithful to the book. It thankfully leaves out a certain scene that I know a lot of people were concerned that they would at least put a hinting of that scene. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it because I'm not going to say it on my channel. I'm not going to talk about it on my channel. I will just say there is something that happens with the kids that absolutely should have never been written in a book. Now, there is a reason for that controversial scene, and there's other ways they could have done it. I think when they remade the miniseries and made it into full-fledged movies, I think they found a tasteful way to do that. Just to go back to togetherness, again, watch them, Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyways, the movie, whether it's 2017 or 2019, tells more of the story from both eras in a more enjoyable way. They also had the benefit of better technology, way bigger budget, and I'll say a 10 times better cast. I've already talked about it. I'm not going to harp on it more. The end is still changed from the town being consumed literally to be a happier ending, with Bill maybe finally writing a good ending. to a story that is something that is joked about heavily throughout the movie. And then also an inside joke about Stephen King himself. A lot of people dislike the endings to his books. There's at least 2 occasions, I believe, where movies that were made out of his books, he himself has approved and said he likes the way they ended them better. The adult timeline overall is better in the remake. The story is being told in a more entertaining way. Like I said before, I will say I don't care for how they beat Pennywise. They destroy it with put downs. I see what they're going for, but it still is just, I don't know why they can't seem to find a more convincing, entertaining way to defeat Pennywise or defeat it, if you will. At the end of the day, the remake is written better. The remake is treated with more heart and love. Andy Muschietti, the director of both of the remake films, clearly a fan of Stephen King and clearly a fan of the book It. Overall, both versions are stories of togetherness and the power that comes with not facing your demons alone. But one is good no matter what timeline you're looking at, and the other is only good in the kid timeline. So, points for this section. Miniseries gets a point for the kid story. The movies get a point. I forgot about that. I'm so sorry. The movies get a point for both kid and adult story. Now we're going to move on to horror, action, and kills. We're going to start with the 1990 miniseries, of course. The 1990 version has its advantage of being the reason I was scared of clowns growing up. I know people don't care for the spider. I already referenced that earlier in the video, but it scared me when I was little. It does the job. Whether you like how it looked or not, it does the job. It looks like a weird deformed spider, like described in the book. Now, does it look great? No, I guess not, but come on. The action is lacking overall in the stories, whether it's the kid or the adults. But the legacy of the film, whether it be Tim Curry, just the fact that it was first, whatever, it is good, whether you want a slower burn. I happen to like slower burns, but I also don't mind when they're faster paced. So whether you like slow burns or not, some of it is kind of grating with how slow it is. You do feel the 3-hour runtime, but despite all of that, it is a good movie, and I do sit through it at least once a year. Pretty much all the kills are off screen. They're mostly teased, and then you see the results versus actually seeing any kills. When I was younger, and even now as an adult, I'm grossed out by the blood with Bev in the bathroom. And then, of course, the scene with Eddie in the shower at school, it always gave me the willies when he opens up the drain and just pops out. It's just always gave me this weird feeling, and it still does. There is a point for the kid timeline for the miniseries. The remakes. The actual scares are kind of lacking, mostly due to me being an adult now, but tension does still build up. And just like the original from 1990, most of the kills are off screen. I know, especially with this adult timeline, you see more deaths, you see more actual gnarliness with him biting the guy in the river. You see in the 2017 one when he pulls Georgie's arm out of his mouth. At least I've always thought that was supposed to be Georgie's arm. I don't know. But anyways, regardless, he pulls a kid's arm out of his mouth. What do you want? Other than that, though, everything else is pretty much just hinted at and you see the end results of. Despite those issues, though, the actors who play the losers as well as the adult losers, phenomenal. I've already went into that pretty heavy, but they're much more believable as friends in both parts. Kids and adults are more believable as friends, and that makes some of the horror that they're supposed to be going through more believable whenever they're showing trauma from that. And despite the extremely long runtime, I never feel bored with 2017 or 2019. I never feel bored with the remake. I'm never sitting there thinking, I wish they'd have left this out. I'm always sitting there thinking, I wish they'd have left this in. But since about 2020 or 21, there's been a rumor that Andy Muschietti is wanting to work on an ultimate cut that'll be 7 hours long. Now, I don't know if he just wants to release it in theaters or release it as a special Blu-ray where he re-edits and blends both movies that he made together into one 7 hour long movie. I would watch it, and if he ever does it, I will buy it. So the long runtime is never lacking, especially if you're trying to watch the parts one and part two back to back, like I did preparing for this. So points for both parts, whether they're kids or adults, with the action, kills, and horror. To recap real fast, for horror, kills, and action, that is 1 point for the miniseries, 2 points for the remake. Now, this is the section that's going to be the hardest for me to do because we're talking about Pennywise, or the killers, if you will. I love both Pennywises. I want that stated right now. They both capture the essence of what was alluring and terrifying about the creature that is Pennywise, or it.
It. That's what happened back in Georgie's room.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
What the hell? Put the map back. What happened? What's going on?
I got it, problem. Guys.
Georgie. Bill?
What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Turn it off! Yeah, we gotta turn it off! Turn it off!
Pennywise was played by two great actors who are endlessly entertaining in this role. That needed to be stated first, even though I do have issues with both. In the miniseries, he's played by Tim Curry, best known for his role in It, as well as Clue, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and funny roles like Home Alone 2, Scary Movie 2, and there's an episode of Psych he's in where he's a judge on a music show similar to American Idol. It's called American Duos. He's known mostly for his numerous villain roles. He is a professional villain, if you will, and a lovely person in real life from everything I've read about him. I would like to meet him, although I know his health has been scarce, so I think that dream is just a dream. I would love to meet Tim Curry, though. The remake. Bill Skarsgård, best known for portraying Pennywise, as well as playing Nosferatu. He was in the remake of The Crow, and he was also in Barbarian and John Wick Chapter 4. He's, of course, returning to Pennywise in It, Welcome to Derry, that comes out, I believe, on Sunday. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but it's coming out very soon. Like I said earlier, I like both. They both capture the essence of Pennywise and what that character is supposed to be. They're both creepy. They both have great looks. Although I'm not as scared of Tim Curry's Pennywise, and that kind of is what I'm about to really get into with how I pick which one wins out of the two of them. I think you have to look at which one you'd rather not have come after you. And for me, it's no question I would not want Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise coming after me. I think he's scarier. I don't care about he got bullied to death basically in 2019, but I still think his Pennywise would be the more horrific to have after you. So that point for best Pennywise goes to Bill Skarsgård and the remake. I will, however, still be giving a point to Tim Curry because he may not have won the best Pennywise per se as far as this remake Rumble is concerned, but he did end up being the reason I was afraid of clowns when I was a kid, and that is not for nothing. I didn't get over that for a long time. I don't know that I even still am or even am over it yet. So he gets a point for that. So that brings our final total. The remake from 2017/2019 has 7 points. The original only has 4. I know. This is yet another remake that I have put up against its original, and the remake has won. I know. But that does not take away from the winner being 2017/2019, the remake, Stephen King's It, starring Bill Skarsgård. Okay, the winner being the remake does not at all mean I don't like the original, that I don't like the original cast, that I don't, none of that. While I think they have their problems, and while I think the remakes have their problems. Again, I couldn't dive deep like I really wanted to into all of this. That video will be on a later date, probably not for another year or two. But again, I loved both versions of this story. Despite there being a couple of things in Stephen King's book that I really wish he wouldn't have put in there, I still think it's one of my favorite books I've ever read. And then, of course, the movies are good. I really enjoy watching the remake no matter how many times I've seen it, as well as its part 2 from 2019. I still watch the original a lot. I didn't get bored necessarily watching it this last time that I've watched it. I do think that the acting's better in the remake, like I've said, so that goes a long way. The action's better, it's faster paced. But anyways, thank you for watching Remake Rumble, Stephen King's It versus Stephen King's It. I enjoy making these. This month has been fun. It's been exhausting, but it's been fun. I'm looking forward to finishing up strong with several videos next week. I will be doing Halloween versus Halloween next Friday on October 31st. But also, leading up to that, I will be ranking Friday the 13th franchise. I'll be ranking Nightmare on Elm Street's franchise. I'll be ranking the Halloween franchise. And also, I'll be ranking original slasher killers from original slasher films. 5 videos next week. I'm going to be exhausted after doing it, but I am loving what I'm doing, and I can't wait to put out those tier list rankings. And then I can't wait to see how the channel evolves from here. I'm very much looking forward to the month of November just because of some of the stuff I have planned. Please come back. Please like and subscribe if you're new and you're still listening to this. And please let me know in the comments down below, what version do you prefer? Obviously, you probably like the 2017 movie. If you like the remakes, you probably like the 2017 movie the most. I know a lot of people still didn't like the adult version of the story, even though I think it's very good and it was very well done. Let me know which version you like the most. Let me know which film you like the most. And also, let me know who your favorite Pennywise is, all down in the comments below. This whole thing is for conversation's sake, and I'm all for hearing other people's opinions. Thank you for joining me. Be blessed. Goodbye.